All right, we'll call the February 23rd, 2026 regular meeting of Peters Township Council to order. I've been advised that we have an issue with the sound system today, so we'll be doing the audio with Mr. Tevet's phone there, and somehow we're going to make that work back together with the video. So please speak loudly tonight, anyone who's going to speak, because we don't have the central microphone working tonight. So, Mr. Lauer, call the roll, please.
Mr. Waldinger. Here. Mr. Steigel.
Here.
Mr. Arcuri.
Here.
Mr. Kozer.
Here.
Ms. Janefeld.
Here.
Mr. Lewis.
Here.
Mr. Benson.
Here.
Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we begin tonight, just want the minutes to reflect that at 7 o'clock this evening, council met in an executive session to discuss various legal matters. So we'll begin now with the special reports. Parks and Recreation Department Glow Night, Mr. Lauer.
Hello. Wanted to come tonight and talk about one of the events that we just hosted 2 Fridays ago. It was Mother-Son Glow Night. It was an event that one of our board members, our Park and Rec board members, brought to us with an idea because of how successful our Princess Ball, our father-daughter dance was. This is something years ago that they tried to get off the ground and going, and it just wouldn't take. So the Glow Night was discussed. My staff ran with the idea, did some research. This event last year was 125 people, and this year we were at 275 people. So very successful event, great turnout. Got a lot of compliments from the people who attended the event. So this is something we're going to keep growing. We're going to try to push it to 300 next year and make it as large as our Princess Ball. Right now, our Princess Ball is at 350 people. So it was a great event. Staff did a great job putting this together and making this happen. So this is an event I was really excited about. Want to bring you for to highlight it. So.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brooks. Next item,
Mr. Kozer.
Mr. Lauer.
The Chief Glover, I'd asked him to come tonight to speak to council concerning the issue that's been occurring in the community. He had a statement that he wanted to be able to present to council.
Thank you, Mr. Lauer.
Good evening, Chief.
Good evening. Okay, so I'm just going to read the statement, and we're not going to be taking any questions tonight. So, all right. In December 2025, the Peters Township Police Department became aware of a large-scale criminal enterprise involving catfishing and sextortion. During the investigation, approximately 30 juvenile males, ages 14 to 17, were interviewed relative to their involvement in this case. The males were victimized over social media platforms TikTok and Telegram. Hundreds of images of sexual exploitation were shared over these and other platforms. After numerous search warrants, an actor was identified, Zachariah Myers, 18, of Peters Township. On February 20th at 07:45 hours, a search warrant was executed at his residence. This investigation resulted in 304 felony criminal charges being filed against Mr. Myers. He was arraigned before Magisterial District Judge Philippe Mellegrain and remanded to the Washington County Correctional Facility without bond. A preliminary hearing is scheduled for February 27, 2026 at the Washington County Courthouse. Formal recognition of the efforts of the primary investigators, Detective Edward Walker, Detective Evan Caruso, and Corporal Zachary Beatty, will occur soon. However, I'd like to highlight the massive amount of effort these officers put into this case. They've worked tirelessly since this investigation started, and there's no better combination of experience and ability in a police department in Western Pennsylvania. The Peters Township Police Department would like to use this incident as a reminder that as a parent, you can never be too careful or too interested in your child's online activity. Please remain vigilant and do not simply rely on a monitoring application to keep your child safe. The Peters Township Police Department will not be releasing any further information relating to this case at this time, as this sensitive investigation is still ongoing and involves numerous juvenile victims. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Okay, we'll move on to the approval of the minutes of the February 9th, 2026 meeting.
So moved. Second.
Motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. 7-0, Mr. Lauer. We'll now move into the audience comments portion of the meeting. This is the portion of the meeting where anyone from the audience can speak for up to 5 minutes on a non-agenda item. Is there anyone who wishes to speak? Stand up. Just write your name down on the notepad there and your address, please.
Good evening, sir. Good evening. Good evening, Council. My name is Blair McCarthy. I live at 133 Fawn Valley Drive. Last week, I received a letter from the Township that a shed of mine was on Township property, and that they did not have a permit for the building of it. I did some history into the structure, and I talked to my neighbor who was an original homeowner. She lived here since 1963. She said the shed was built when the water company owned the land. My house was built in 1969. So the shed is anywhere from 40 to 50 odd, it's very old. It's been there. Maybe there's not a permit because it was built in the 70s, and so nothing was done with it. I'm not sure. But I would like to request that the council consider possibly keeping the shed there and allowing me continued use of it, given its age, given that it was built so long ago, and allow me to continue use of it.
So you said it's on township property?
It is, and I can show a picture of that.
Yeah, no, I guess we've had this come up several times, and Paul, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but in all of those instances, we either required the structure to be moved, or in the case of an in-ground pool, we ended up with a land swap as a result of it, so.
Okay.
You have a picture of the?
Yeah, I do. That would.
So, Mr. Stively, you're correct, that the town council was never
This was what-
allowed
I just want to see what it looks like.
Okay, well, so this is, they sent me, there's the property there, and.
Where's the shed?
So here's the shed right here, right on the edge.
Oh, yeah, okay, so in
Right
here, it's
there.
right here.
Yeah, that looks like right there, and then this is, an overall view.
So where does your property line end? Do you think it's the grass?
So I think it's about somewhere here. I did a rough measurement. I know there's some kind of easement off the road or so, but it's about like right here. So either this, maybe part of the shed's on the property, but most of it is definitely on Peters Township land there. So
Is it capable of being moved?
40, 50 years old. I'm not sure how well it would handle being moved,
Well, no, I'm not-
to be
I know.
honest. I don't know if anyone else would like to see these or.
I would.
How did it come up? Like, did we just do assessments or?
Well, what happened was a tree fell in, since there were woods back there, and I'm assuming this is where it came from. A tree fell from township property, and I was going to pay to have it all cleaned up and moved, but it hit another tree that was on township property in the back there, and I looked at that tree, and I was like, I was gonna take it down. And then I thought, well, I can't take it down, and I called the parks department. They said, yeah, you can't take it down, don't touch it. We'll come out and look at it. I haven't received any feedback on what they're doing with that tree, but the township did come out and clean up the tree that fell onto my property. And I think in doing so, they saw the shed, and then they sent the letter. And so I wanted to do what was right. I didn't want to just take down the tree myself, since I know it wasn't mine, but it is it was damaged, and I thought it would be best to not have another tree fall and hit my house again. So
Do you use the shed?
I do use the shed, yes, I do. I didn't, when I purchased the property, I just, there's a shed back there, and I
Just used it.
right, yeah.
Our fire chief had an encouragement. We made him get rid of it. So,
Okay.
I'm only one councilman, but.
Yeah, because I'm going to speak up a little bit differently. He's one of my neighbors. He lives a few houses up the street from me. He did come down and talk to me the night, I guess you got the letter.
Yeah.
I researched the property line and it appeared as if it's certainly the shed is not within the setback requirements, but a portion of it is
Portion, yeah.
in his property. There was no fences when this was the water company's property. I'm not sure what the rules would have been back in prior to construction.
Well, you could never build on somebody else's property, whether it's the townships or the water companies. We would never permit that. You know, I can't tell you back then whether or not a plot plan would have been required and.
Yeah, I don't think that there
you know,
was.
if a permit was issued now, you would be required to submit that, and you would have to locate the shed to meet the rear yard setbacks. And then, so this wouldn't happen now.
And I
The
guess-
problem is often sheds get built and no one comes in for a permit, and that's how you end up in these situations.
Yeah, but was that even township property back then?
No, it wouldn't have been.
No.
So
Then.
I don't see how you can then, somebody develops a plan and says, well, you know, this is now township property. Is it township property because we bought the water company?
Yes,
Yes.
part of Peters Lake Park.
But it would have, his property line would never have changed when the lot was created.
So
he would
for
have-
all-
this shed would have been encroached upon somebody's property and would have had to been removed. The thing is, right now, it's on our open space and our parkland, and as Mr. Steigel has said, what council has consistently said is that when we discover encroachments, is that we ask those to be abated.
I can think of 4 or 5. I mean,
So
Sam Hazen goes all the way back to 2012.
Yeah, except,
Well, shouldn't the township take it down?
no, but here's the thing, how do we know he didn't have the permission of the water company, not him, his predecessor didn't have the water
That's what I'm
company's
saying.
permission to build it there? Which if he did, you know,
Having
I mean,
dealt with
my
the water
thing here,
company,
I
find
mean-
that hard to believe, Mr. Kozer.
how do you know? I mean,
I
if
don't know.
it was built in 1969 or 1970, someone may well have asked the water
I don't
company.
know also if,
When did the township take ownership?
1994, I think, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
94, 93, something like that.
I don't know if it would help to show like on the map like where it is and how it's in no way impeding anyone's public use of the lake or the property back there. Like it's
Yeah.
nowhere near.
Well, and I guess my question is, the times we've made people move encroachments, were they recently built encroachments? Was it a situation where somebody had just put, as I know when we made those people down in West McMurray, before I was sitting here, people in West McMurray that put that miniature golf
Gazebo.
course in their backyard and the gazebo that we made move. I mean, is there any precedent for us making someone move something that's been there for 45 years?
I don't know about that long, but I think,
Well, if the house was built in 69, if the shed was built soon after, I mean, the shed could have been there since 1970.
The encroachment over at Bittersweet Circle had been there for a number of years before we discovered it. I can't answer that for sure.
I have no problem with it staying, but I will confess that he is a neighbor of mine, and I don't think that there's anybody that's,
but.
I mean, I don't either. As long as it's understood that if, you know, you have to rebuild the shed at some point, then
Can't be there.
you gotta come with a permit and put it
Certainly,
in your
certainly,
yard.
Yes.
Should we be?
What is the
Okay, we're
risk
agreeing for illegal.
I think
to the township for any claims while inside a shed that typically carries tools and other items that you usually keep away from kids?
Yeah, I think from a premises standpoint, that's what Paul said, if the council's gonna go that way, should we formalize this arrangement?
Oh, I think we'd have to.
And I'm thinking maybe some sort of license agreement versus a right-of-way agreement, just the right to use that portion of the land.
And I would accept liability. And,
Yeah, we've done them in the past for limited basis. I don't think something is but something that would say, once it's down, it can never be built again or something like
Mhm.
that. I'm not sure even at the water company, whether they gave permission to your predecessors or whether there's a 21-year run between them, that being built and us taking it. I don't know, but.
Well, yeah, the problem is the burden would be on Mr. McCarthy
Right,
to
and
prove
not to
that,
you.
not on us.
You're not the forum to
Right.
hear that. And then Mr. Steigel's right. I mean, we've almost, I can't remember a time.
We've never
we didn't
let
make someone
that
do
go.
this,
Yeah.
but this is old. I don't remember one going back this far either. So, but
Well,
I think we could do a license agreement in terms of, you know, I can't recall if we've done them in the past where we'd have to be a named insured for that particular structure.
You would want to be.
Yeah.
And
So-
do you have a current survey
Those are the
of your
points we-
property that shows how much of it actually,
I could, no, I don't. I mean, I could, if that would be necessary.
I think we'd almost need one, wouldn't we? Because you would have to define the area that you're granting the license over.
Well, you could just say where it presently
exists.
Knowing what surveys cost,
Yeah.
But Mr. Kozer, what I would suggest is if you want to head in that direction is to charge the solicitor to draft an appropriate agreement and whatever that results in, whether it needs a survey or whether there's a way to describe this without a survey.
I mean,
If
I
you get a
guess,
survey, it's gonna be cheaper for you to get a new shed.
Yeah.
It really is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, you're
Well-
wasting your time.
Okay, well, then hopefully we don't need a survey then.
I just asked Mr. Holdren, because I know we use property lines in court that the township utilizes, but I know we've lost on that before too. He thinks,
Plus or minus 3 to 5 feet.
yeah, there may be just 5 feet over the line, so I'm not sure if that would work or not. Is that how we're looking at it now, is over the line, just by,
No, I think it's entirely over.
I think it's more, yeah.
entirely over the line.
I don't know about that. Not from the image that I provided.
From the
Yeah.
measurement from the street is the determination that they're using.
well, then maybe we should put this on the agenda for the next meeting, and in the interim, try to figure out exactly how much of it is on our property.
yeah, I mean, if it's all the way on our property, I think we're at a different story at that point.
I'll remind our attorney over there, we did reach an agreement with my neighbor on the other side where we found out Fawn Valley Road is not in its proper place, and its house, based on where the road exists, was non-conforming. And we reached an agreement there,
Yeah, we've seen that before in roads, for sure.
and I don't find this to be something that would be anywhere near difference.
Well, and I agree with Mr. Lewis, if this is something Mr. McCarthy had just built and he built it without a permit, we say, move it.
No, I agree with that.
Yeah.
That's what I said, this far back, I mean, we're talking maybe 50 years. At some point,
Particularly since we don't know the circumstances under which it was built in the first place. Because I think we all know, if someone had called Pennsylvania American Water back then and asked them, can I build it? Someone answered the phone at the office, probably said, what do I care? Quite honestly.
That's my experience with the water
Yeah.
company.
Yeah, this is woods.
Right, exactly.
There's no
I mean, they
fence
weren't-
or anything.
There's no fence, I mean, they weren't using the properties,
and Mr. Kozer, I recall generally you can't adverse possess against the government, but there is occasion.
Only if it's not used for you can adversely possess the lands of state and local governments as long as the land isn't used for a public purpose. So then we end up in a question of whether or not, just because it's called a park, is that sufficient to make that part of the property, since it's just the woods, there's no walking path there or anything, is that enough?
I knew there was an exception, just I
Right.
hadn't seen it, so.
So give us a couple weeks to see what we can come up with, and I'll work with Mr. Smith to find out whether or not there's a way to create a license, and we'll put that in front of council, and you can make a determination.
Yeah,
as to
we
whether or
definitely
not
could
we
do a license agreement, just a matter of how particular we are in terms of how much of it is on the property.
All right.
Okay,
Thank you, Mr. McCarthy.
thank you.
Council, thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it.
Anyone else want to speak on a non-agenda item?
And you had your hand up, young lady, earlier.
Who?
You.
Me? I didn't have my, no, I was,
Scratching
scratching my
your
head.
head.
I
You
did not
haven't been
have
in an
my
auction
hand
in a
up.
while.
No,
Okay.
I did not. You'll know when I want to talk, and you know
Right,
that.
so no one else wants to speak on a non-agenda item. All right, we'll move into unfinished business, of which there is none, so we'll go into new business. First item, award of a contract for the purchase and installation of a scoreboard through the CoStar's Cooperative Purchasing Program.
We have some people here that want to
So
talk
the
about that.
2026 budget includes an appropriation of $40,000 to purchase and installation of a new scoreboard at Joe Mays Field. The current scoreboard no longer functions. Included in the dock is a price quotation from Institutional Specialties for the purchase and installation of a Daktronics scoreboard in the amount of $36,365. This purchase is being made under the Pennsylvania Cooperative Purchasing Program. It's my recommendation that council approve the award of a contract to Institutional Specialties Incorporated under the CoStar's program for the purpose and installation of a Daktronics scoreboard in the amount of $36,365.
Is that what it's gonna look like?
That is what it's gonna look like.
I'll make a motion that we approve the award of a contract to Institutional Specialties, Inc. under the CoStar's program for the purchase and installation of a Daktronics scoreboard in an amount of $36,365.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there anyone from the audience who wants to talk about this? Any questions from council?
Yeah, where is the Joe Mays Field?
Well, that's what I was gonna ask that, but
It's
there's no room to put it on
That's
there.
The sign for the naming of the field is actually on the press box. There's a
Oh.
significant sign on it.
Okay.
There's no question about what field you're at.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Mr. Kozer,
7-0, Mr. Lauer, go ahead.
Before you move on, one of the things that I placed at your desk is a proposal for a camera system that allows for streaming of baseball games. This agreement that would permit it is actually being proposed by the Baseball Association. They would be the ones executing this agreement and paying the fees. What they're asking is permission to be able to locate the camera on the building to make this streaming possible. I mean, this is something that's been reviewed by Mr. Brooks, and he's supportive of the idea. I have no problem with this as long as it's the Baseball Association executing this agreement, not the township, so.
Dave, can you come up?
Yep. Paul had me look at it as well. I don't have an issue. I think, I just wondered whether it'd be more like huddle, whether the kids could use that and have access to it. But we can't really draft any portions of that, but.
That's the question I had. So this is a subscription service, right?
Correct. It's Game Changer. If you're familiar with Game Changer, with your kids playing sports, you can watch the scores from anywhere in the country where you're at for a game that's being played at a certain area. So this is through Game Changer. The Peters Township Baseball Association was selected one of 20 organizations. Jordan Jankowski, president of the Baseball Association's here. They were selected. This is a program where this company is going to provide the cameras. We just have to give them the okay to put those. It's one camera per field on the backstop that'll give a view of 250 feet out for Little League games. For larger field, they do 2 cameras for such as like Field 1. So it's something that anybody can stream, go on, they can scan a QR code or go on to the Game Changer, select live feed, and if they don't have a membership to Game Changer, they can pay a daily fee to live stream the game from anywhere they're at.
And Game Changer's getting that money, right? Baseball, or is the association getting it?
Game Changer's getting that money. Yep.
So the
Baseball Association's paying an annual fee, and then in addition to that, people are subscribing to the service, as I
Correct.
understand.
That's correct.
Is it a free-for-all, like anyone can get any game anywhere, or is it like, considering what has recently gone on with, social media and internet, like would it give anybody access to watch these kids?
If anybody has access to that game, if they follow that team
Yeah.
on Game Changer, that QR code or that access will be on that game itself.
So how does Game Changer police this then to make sure there aren't, sex offenders watching these games?
They don't.
They don't.
And I have one other issue with this is that we have one baseball association here in Peters Township.
Correct.
Meaning that if you want your kid to play baseball in here, you have to agree to be on camera.
That's something they would have to put in their signups.
So there's no option for any family to play baseball in Peters Township on this field without being on camera.
Yes, if the game's listed on Game Changer, they will be on camera.
And it's a public facility, they'll be making money, there's no profit sharing, they'll be taking all of it.
Correct.
The only thing I would say, just as a parent, is that although they can, the users can see, it's not as clear as, you see the play, but you don't. It's not like you could see the face.
Yes, correct. It's a wide angle.
Yeah,
Farther back.
it's more
view.
about seeing the big picture
Yes.
of the play.
Is this the view you get then? Sorry, Alex, is this the view you get then? Like we got here, the view you get is all
Yes.
just from behind the catcher.
Yeah, it's direct. It's going to be on. It'd be on the backstop behind home plate of every field.
And
That's
who
listed.
turns
I'm
it
sorry.
on?
No, it's okay.
It's activated when the games are listed on Game Changer. It's automatically activated when that game starts. And somebody starts to keep score on Game Changer.
Now, if the kids want access to the footage or highlights or anything, is that built in or?
I do not know that.
I think
Jordan, you know
it
that?
is.
So it does have highlights for a game.
You have to come to the front.
Yes, come up.
And Allison, if he's walking up, I have a question for Ms. Shanafelt. In football, do they leave it up, like in the stadiums, or does somebody take the machinery down? Because I just wonder from the liability standpoint, someone just takes it.
So-
Aren't they drones?
Some are
It's
cameras
like
that
Wi-Fi.
they crank up
Yes,
at the back of the end zones
that's what it
with
is.
a tripod, a high-level tripod. Some are permanently set cameras in different facilities.
This sounds like it's gonna be a permanently set one.
Yes.
And I think the Huddle one used to be like in the end zone, not permanent, and I think maybe it would be permanent now. I think
Right.
it was a recent change. In regards, I mean, I'm an advocate for this, and the reason why is because I have a personal experience with it. Like Huddle helped my child get recruited, and if he did not have that, we would have, as parents, had to like purchase a company to help with that, and it helps everybody. And then a side point to like any family in the township having to be on camera, their child have to be on camera. I would say 9 times out of 10 that the coach would be using Game Changer on their own, and like the team footing the bill for the like literally putting their camera up on the backstop.
Right.
It unfortunately is happening without anybody knowing it's happening, and it's all about stats and keeping score and allowing people outside, mainly parents who can't attend,
Yes.
or family members. It's not like,
Right.
but it's happening already in a sense.
Look,
I'm just saying,
Jordan,
I'm just
I love what you
explaining.
do, man, and I love you, right? But my issue is this, is that we have a public facility, we only have one Peters Township Baseball Association, and you will be required to be on camera, and there's no other option. You have no opt-out. And on top of that, we have a public facility that we're using a private company to profit, with no sharing to the township, and no options for any of these kids to opt out, just like any place that you go. And I said this, I mean, maybe if there's, and no one has to follow what I'm saying, that's just where I'm coming from. Private field wants to do this, private association, I'm fine with, it's a public facility.
Yeah, like Ms. Shanafelt said, it's happening in the school district with Huddle already. And there's no way of opting out of that.
Jeff, I was going to call you Jeff at some point. Dave, I've had a case for a number of years with a lawyer on the other side named Jeff Brooks. And I knew I was going to call you Dave.
We know him well myself.
There we go. Dave,
Yeah.
sorry. What's the Parks and Rec Board's position on this?
I addressed it with them. They didn't have any heartburn or concern.
When was it addressed?
When was it addressed?
Yeah.
At our last meeting.
Okay, I was told it wasn't brought up.
Yeah, I brought it up, but we only had 3 people in person, two on the phone. It was brought up at the beginning, part of my report. but
Was it unanimous?
It was quick. The people were there, they felt comfortable with it because they're used to their kids playing and being
I'm not feeling
at
confident that
facilities.
everyone was on board.
One board member came on late, so he didn't even.
Was there any discussion
Wasn't.
about the issues that John raised
There
about,
weren't.
opting out of having your picture televised or
Yeah,
whatever?
there weren't, but I completely understand.
And I assume the township's gonna have to eat the cost of the electricity, because it says in here, if there's no electricity then available, then there's a solar kit, but I would assume there's electricity in the.
There's electricity at most of these spots where they're going to go, so that's
And
something.
that cost will
we'll
be
look
minor in comparison.
Well,
to
I
what
understand
the lighting
that,
of the
you know.
fields are.
at. Yeah.
And I mean, I understand, Mrs. Shanafeld's position that, it does have some sort of a recruiting purpose, which I think might be appropriate for people that are playing, Colt League or something where, but I mean, In reality, the reason is so people can watch their kids play.
For sure.
Well, I mean, I get it.
No,
It's,
no,
you know,
it's-
grandpa and grandma are homebound. They want to
Absolutely.
watch their grandson or granddaughter
Yeah,
play. Let's
correct.
give them the opportunity to do
For
that.
sure.
Yeah.
Instead of, you know, or if it's
Or
too
just
hot.
parents, multiple
Yeah.
places,
Right, or, you know, if
multiple
it's
fields.
95 degrees and it's too hot for grandma to sit out there, you know, and then she can watch it from the comfort of her living room, right?
I'd like to comment on the privacy aspect of it. So you can actually make a setting set they have to be a fan of the team. Using Game Changer myself, the coach has to approve who's a fan of that team to have this live stream. So not everyone can actually get the stream. You have to be approved as a fan or a family member of the team to get the stream.
Yeah, that's
So
what I
not
thought it was,
like,
but.
Yeah. So
And who
if they-
does that? Does the association do that approval, or is it?
So yeah, so the coach sets up the Game Changer, and they get a request saying, is so-and-so a family member or friend of the team? So.
Yeah, like a parent, player,
You have
family
to- yeah,
member,
you have
and,
to,
and then
yeah.
you put in and,
So if a random person, John Smith, makes the request and the coach gets it, well, I don't know this guy, he can say no,
He can say
deny
no.
that person access.
Correct. Yep. And to get the stream, you have to have,
Yeah.
be part of the fans or friends of the team.
But part of
That's
the
how Iowa
system,
works.
there is a QR code on the backstop, so that we're open about this whole thing. There is a QR code that'll be hanging on the backstop lower where you can walk up and scan it.
No, so that just starts it for the Game Changer
Okay.
system. So if I walked up to it and I wasn't a fan, I couldn't scan and get access. So the coach of whoever's the head of that team's Game Changer that's playing on the field, they have to scan the code for the camera to turn on. So, yes.
I think it answers your issue here, is they can power and supply their own internet.
Yeah.
So the access for the player itself to get some of that footage to utilize it, does it exist?
It does. After the game, there will be a recap with highlights of the video, so young individuals can share with their friends so what maybe happened in their game, highlights of some sort.
What happens to the videotaping of the game? Does it stay forever? Is it erased after a certain period of time? Do you know?
I don't know the extent of the duration, but I know from last year, like for my team exactly, we don't have access to the footage from our games from last year.
yeah, I don't remember it going. from
Would
there.
that be subject to right to know request on the township?
No, because we're not the signature to the agreement, it's the baseball association.
I'm just asking questions.
That's
No,
a good
that's-
question.
yeah.
So there's no concern about liability on our part then
That's
if some
why I
of
don't
these
think-
videos fell into the wrong
To me,
person's
the only
hands or
liability is
something like
hanging
that.
it up, if somebody has an issue.
Do any other organized sports in the township have something like this, like football?
Football does.
Or lacrosse?
I know.
Or
at the-
girls
at the high
softball?
school level, but youth sports.
Yes.
I mean, I have Game Changer on my phone right now.
Right.
Because of like basketball.
You got jocks in your
Girl
house.
Scouts.
I
They-
know, but I'm
they
saying
all-
like
all
my
the youth
daughter, it's for my
associations
daughter,
use Game
yeah.
Changer.
They,
That's-
it's a very
Yeah.
regularly
Okay.
used.
I mean, it's just
Everybody
app.
uses
Well,
Game
the
Changer.
app is used, but
Yeah.
the cameras is what we're talking about.
Right,
different,
correct.
Because it's Girl Scouts, it's baseball, whatever.
Yep.
Right. But if you don't have the company putting the camera up,
You shoot your
like the main user could use your phones.
Yeah, that's what we did last year. We used our
Yeah.
phones.
Right.
I would say like 50% of people just use their phones.
Yeah.
Let me test the waters here. I move that we authorize the Baseball Association to execute their agreement to install.
Actually, all council needs to do is authorize the installation of the cameras, and then it's up to the baseball association as to whether or not they
One
want to sign
question.
that agreement.
Sorry, Bob, I have one question before we do that. So it mentions granting the right to display signage at the location. Is that beyond just the QR code and the camera itself?
That's just the signage for the QR code.
So there's no additional signage advertisement they would be displaying?
No, it does say like Game Changer on the QR code to scan here, but that's all.
If this ended up being a problem, we could always have it taken
We
down.
could have them taken down. I do think the one thing that Mr. Bensay indicates is probably something that you would want to insist upon is that at least that parents be notified, and when they're registering, that these games would be taped, and so that they in fact know that their kid's gonna be on TV.
Good point.
And I assume the association doesn't have a problem with that.
No problem with that.
Have you talked to the company about any additional terms at all, or are you just looking to sign this as is?
I've had like 4 different Zoom calls with them, so those are the terms. So Pixlock is the company that owns the cameras. Dick's Sporting Goods bought Game Changer. They're trying to revamp the whole program, and they partnered with Pixelot to try to get this out to 20 organizations. That's kind of the extent of it. We've talked about the cellular cards they're going to put in it, so we don't have to worry about having internet connectivity. We talked about where the power needs to be essentially to help with these cameras. Other than that, warranty-wise, they cover it. So if it breaks, they come out and fix it, and things of that nature.
Well, I just want to point out too, that they appreciate, and maybe it goes without saying, that if council decides it's coming down off of their field, we're sort of frustrating the purpose of your contract.
Right.
I don't want any liability for the baseball association. I'm not sure that there could be, but that it'd be subject to local ordinance or local approval, whatever it might be, that they understand that it's not your field.
Yeah.
And no, for no other reason than to protect you if council decides, or even if you decide on want council to take it down and want to get out of the contract.
So
Oh,
can
I'll
I
second.
amend my motion?
Yes, you
to-
can.
to reflect what you said? I will do that if there's a second.
I'll second that.
All right, we got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Nay.
5-2, Mr. Lauer. Next item, amendment to an existing unconventional gas well lease with Range Resources Appalachia.
So in 2018, Peters Township Council entered into a lease agreement with Range Sources Appalachia covering 66 acres of land near Peters Lake Park. Range Resources intends to drill an additional well utilizing that same belt pad. The new well will extend it to Peters Township and will pass beneath open space owned by Peters Township. Approximately 7 acres of township land is involved. Those parcels are outlined on the screen. What Range Resources has offered is to extend the terms of the existing lease to include the new parcels. And as such, the well must be drilled by September 12, 2028. It includes a lump sum payment of $4,750 per acre or $33,497, and royalty payments of 18% of the net amount paid to Range Resources. The lease addendum has been reviewed and approved by Mr. Smith. My recommendation to council authorize the appropriate township official to execute an amendment to the existing unconventional gas well lease with Range Sources Appalachia.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say,
How
go,
does the
Jimmy.
payment compare to the original terms of the prior?
Oh, this payment per acre in the rent, the royalty payment is the same.
Same.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. 7-0, Mr. Lauer. Next item, award of a contract for the installation of a traffic signal under the PennDOT Automated Red Light Enforcement Transportation Enhancements Grant Program.
So the township has received a grant in the amount of $219,996 under the Automated Red Light Enforcement Transportation Enhancement Program. This is a matching grant, requires the township to provide a dollar for dollar match. And the purpose of the grant is to offset the cost of replacing the traffic signal located at the Route 19 and Gallery Drive intersections. Funds under the grant can be utilized for design and construction of the project. Design services have cost $36,900, leaving $403,093 in funding under the grant agreement to offset the construction cost. And based upon the bids received by the township will assume an additional responsibility of $22,589 beyond that which is provided under the grant. The Gallery Drive signal was originally installed in 1988. The project includes complete replacement of that signal. And one of the responsibilities of the contractor will be to maintain traffic control at the intersection during the installation of the new traffic signal. The low bidder was Monarch Technical Services at $425,682.23. And it's my recommendation that council award them a contract for the construction of the traffic signal.
How much are we gonna have to pay?
Our share of this is going to be $242,000 approximately.
And then the state's gonna give us $219.
Right.
I couldn't tell from the bids, the poles and the beams and whatnot, what do they look like?
This is
basic
going to
ones?
be painted black like the one that was installed at Thompsonville and East McMurray Road.
And what's the cost difference between a basic one? Because I know that wasn't, when we talked about that before, there was a
It's actually,
difference in opinion.
in terms of simply, and I can't tell you the exact amount, but in terms of the difference between the painted and the galvanized, it was not substantial. Where the difference becomes substantial is when you start to get into fluted designs like you see in St. Clair and arched armways, and the township councils had indicated that they weren't interested in doing that, and but like I said, the incremental cost for what was done up here was somewhat minimal. Do you remember what that was, Mark?
A couple $10,000.
It's not a lot of money.
Is there any benefit?
Aesthetics, I think.
Yeah,
I think it
beautification.
looks a whole lot better. You know, the intention is over the next several years to replace all the signals on Route 19, and so, you know, this is the first of what is going to be a handful of these.
So I guess the idea would be to build the new ones in the same way that this one is being, those will be all matched.
Yes, so that the wall match.
This would become the standard, yeah.
Yeah.
And we're comfortable with the design of this one, so we don't maybe change it for the second one?
No, I think we've learned a couple things from the one up here, and I think we have a design standard that we're comfortable with.
Did you ever notice the color of that one?
I can't say that.
So is it worth
Whenever the signal is updated, I know we've talked about right down at the bottom of Old Oak and 19, but then also at this one, it gets off a lot, and it's off right now.
Well, the advantage of what you'll have here is that instead of loop detectors that are in the ground, like the signal up above here, you'll have them with radar detectors, and so you don't have that problem of losing the control of the signal. So,
That's good.
All right, everybody want to make a motion?
Motion. To approve.
Second. Motion and a second.
Getting shorter.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Nay.
5-2, Mr. Lauer. Next item, authorize the chairman of council to execute equitable share agreement and certification.
So, as a result of the Peters Township Police Department participates in the U.S. Food and Drug Administration Task Force, and notably the outstanding work of Detective Ed Walker, in 2023, Peters Township was awarded $3,700,000 in forfeiture funds. What needs to happen on an annual basis is that the township needs to renew the equitable share agreement, and they have to certify the expenditures for the prior year. And in 2025, the township expended $576,486 out of the equitable share fund. So it's my recommendation that council authorize the chairman of council to execute the equitable share agreement and certification.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. 7-0, Mr. Lauer. Next item, Peters Township Zoning Hearing Board decision regarding 111 Vista Drive.
So 111 Vista Drive is located right below that dot where it says Vista Drive. And the owner of the property, Infinity Homes, came in for a variance. That is a vacant lot that has been newly created. The variance that was sought was a variance from the lot coverage. The lot coverage on these smaller lots is 30%. What they were requesting is coverage to 36%. So it's a 20% increase over the township's lot regulation. And as I understand it, this variance was granted by a 3-2 vote. In part, I think some people thought that change was de minimis, and others thought it was appropriate, but I don't know how you end up with a variance on a vacant lot and a plan that has just been recently created.
So this is a plan, right, that was laid out by Infinity, right?
It's a plan that was laid out by Laurel Capital,
Okay.
I believe.
Right.
But Infinity Homes was the sole purchaser of the lots, and so.
And the reason that lot is that size, right, is because the district it's in, they were able to get additional lots because they were able to build smaller lots, right?
You're permitted the smaller lots.
So they get the benefit of smaller lots, so they get more lots. Then they have the nerve to come in and say that this house I want to build on this lot, which is smaller than a typical lot should be, is too large. So I have a hardship,
Yeah.
right?
I think one of the
Okay,
things
that makes sense.
that is.
I think we can cut this off right now. I'll make a motion that we appeal.
Absolutely.
I second.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. 7-0, Mr. Lauer. Go get him, John. Payroll and bills. Ms. Shenefeld, have you reviewed the payroll and bills?
Yes.
Do you
I
find
have.
them to be in order?
I do.
Do you have a motion to approve?
I do.
I second. Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. 7-0, Mr. Lauer. Any correspondence, Mr. Lauer?
Well, I did want to bring to your attention, there's a statement in the docket that was presented by Mr. Lonich, who is the solicitor for the zoning hearing board. And the only reason I wanted to make sure that you saw it, because it was presented at the beginning of the zoning hearing board meeting, and quite frankly, it's directed to council in terms of what it is indicating. He believes that council has made a motion in error to not reappoint the chairman of the zoning hearing board, and goes on to state that if in fact the township is implementing term limits, it should do so for all boards. And it goes on to say, I also suggest that if the term limits are being imposed, council should start in its own house and limit the number of years one may serve on council. I think it's an inappropriate statement coming from the solicitor for a township board, and I just wanted to bring it to your attention, particularly since.
Do we appoint him?
No, the
We
zoning
do
board
not.
does. I mean, last time I checked, council had absolute discretion as to who gets reappointed and who doesn't. I mean, there have been times we've removed people in the past for various and different reasons, or not reappointed people. I don't think we singled this gentleman out.
Purely
I
statutory.
don't necessarily disagree with the term limits on council too, for that matter.
Oh, I've known that for years.
You've been
Like I
support-
said, I just wanted, since it was directed at council, I wanted you to know that it was part of a public record that's sitting out there.
Well, thank you, Mr. Lauer. I think there's really any action we need to take with regard to that.
I don't think so.
All right, anyone want to discuss any of the various reports, meeting minutes, or anything of those natures? Didn't think so. Okay, let's move on to miscellaneous. Peters Creek Sanitary Authority meeting Monday, March 16th at 7
The
PM.
three members of the Peters Creek Sanitary Authority appointed by Peters Township are available at that time.
Now, is that going to be a public workshop or just a meeting with council?
It's going to be a public workshop, as all meetings would be
All right.
in the public zone.
And that will be here.
Yes.
Okay. Ambulance service?
Just wanted to bring you up to date. We have been meeting with the VFW ambulance service, the VFW, AHN, as well as the fire chief. March 29th, 8 o'clock in the morning is the date for the transition. Our discussions, for the most part, have been going smoothly. I do think I'm going to come back to you with some direction as to when we should be acquiring that building. I'm beginning to think we might need to do that sooner than later, so.
And why is that?
Okay. We have, Mr. Zamitis has put together an RFP, and we have responses back from the engineering services that have been circulated to council. Our only question is how do you want to proceed with that? I know Mr. Zamitis and I have gotten together to provide some ranking on those.
You want to interview these
The
people?
question is,
Do what we did
what does
last
council
time,
want
have
to
them
do?
do the presentations to us. I would do it the same way we did it 8 or 12 or however many years ago, and let them come and present to us, just like we did with the for the comprehensive plan for those consultants.
So do you want us to bring everyone in? Do you want us to bring the top 3 or 4 and based upon our calculation in? I don't know that you want to sit there through.
How many is the total?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I don't think we need to sit through 8, particularly if 2 or 3 of them are legitimate candidates.
Let us schedule, particularly for the general engineering, let us schedule the top 3 in, and have council sit with them. You know, the 2 of those are actually for traffic engineering services. I think there's a little doubt about what the township should be doing with regard to traffic engineering services, but I'll leave that up to you.
I'm not sure why we,
that.
what I read through there, I wasn't certain why we would be pursuing looking into the alternate.
Well, I
engineering.
think that the members of council who weren't here during the last time, during the last iteration, I think they deserve to know who we're dealing with.
Then we'll bring in the, I think there are 2 that speak to traffic engineering, and we'll bring them in as well.
All right.
So that makes 10, or that makes?
That
part of
makes
the
5.
So,
I thought you said there was 8.
so we'll set aside a Monday night then to do that. Is that the plan?
Yes.
All right. The calendar's filling
Oh,
up
we
pretty
should bring
quick.
in the top 3 for the
3 of
general.
the, yeah.
Well, you gotta limit how much time you're gonna give them.
Well, you're gonna give them each, what, 20
Half
minutes?
hour.
Half hour, 20
Yeah.
minutes, whatever.
20 minutes.
All right.
Is it open to the public?
Yes, it'll be a workshop, Ms.
What's the-
Shaner.
What's the date?
We don't have a date.
But we'll look forward to seeing you there, Ms. Shaner, no question. RCAP grant, Mr. Lauer.
We got good news. Thanks to Mr. Covette's persistence, we've been notified that the bulk of the RCAP funds, that $2 million, is in the process of being dispersed. It takes a mere 8 weeks to be able to get a payment from the state of Pennsylvania. The other thing about that is we're going to come back to you. There is a standing change order that has not been processed for Rolling Hills Park. And the other aspect of this is we're trying to close out the construction. There's some work that still needs to be done as the weather breaks here, so we're going to bring that back to you. On the comprehensive land use plan, the consultant's in the process of drafting the report. And the next stop for that draft is to the steering committee. And my question to the council is, because you're the ones that have to adopt this, do you want to see this draft before it goes out to the public and have a meeting with HRG to review it? Or is it simply going to be that the steering committee approves the draft and then it's circulated?
Yes.
Yeah, I think council should see it beforehand.
Yeah,
I agree.
I agree. Obviously, Frank, you and I are familiar, but I think everyone else should be familiar as well.
Yeah, okay, so after the steering committee has a chance to look at it, we'll schedule a meeting with council, and
Yeah.
then at that point, we'll schedule a public hearing on it.
Hill Place Road trees.
This is a picture from Google Maps of the trees along Hill Place Road. We actually got a call from a resident, and their concern is legitimate about the trees that are overhanging the road. And if you go down Hill Place, there are sections that are actually worse than this. I just want to make sure before we do this, because this is never a popular thing, we want to contact the adjacent property owners and at least daylight it, in terms of trimming trees up, and in some cases actually removing trees. But before I do that, I want to make sure council's on board, because last time we did this on Snyder Road, it caused a lot of consternation.
Well,
But
yeah.
it's something that needs to be done, to be honest with you.
And usually the people that complain are the ones that then also complain when the tree comes down and blocks the road.
Well,
So-
I think what prompted the individual to contact us, there was a tree that came down across this road and closed the road. And so,
I mean, is there one in that picture that's like moving off essentially? It looks like.
well, if you drive down Hill Place Road right now, there's a tree that is only being held up by the telephone lines. So.
Okay.
No, there's a few of them around.
That's not
town.
unique just to that street.
Yeah, yeah.
Is this where the tornado went through too, right up the street from there, and took
Yeah.
out that one, there's that one bare area
Yeah.
with missing trees? And
Well,
you can do it the same way that PennDOT just did on Water Dam, right, where you just go straight up from the right of way?
Well, we try to be a little bit more sensitive. We actually, on the last couple times we've done this, we've actually went out and stood there with property owners. And in some cases, it's easier and better for the property owner for us to take a tree off their property rather than they go off, because you end up with something that nobody wants. in their
Oh, so you're not
front
talking about pruning, you're talking about felling certain trees?
yard. I'm talking about felling certain trees, and I'm also talking about pruning, depending on what the situation is.
We gotta get it done before starts blooming.
Yeah.
Well, and we have to keep doing this because every year the storms seem to be getting worse. Trees seem to be falling down left and right anymore. I don't know whether that's because trees are dying or what, but better to get it done now before it crashes on somebody's car.
My last thing is to let you know, and I think Tom forwarded this to everyone, the annual reports are done for all the departments. They are available to you electronically. If anybody wants a hard copy of that, we're more than happy to put a binder together with the reports.
I had one other question. The roads in the township that haven't been dedicated yet in the new plans, are we plowing those?
We do, under an agreement with the developer paying us a fee in advance to do that.
Okay, so the Lutz farm, that one we have an agreement with?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Usually when there's somebody living there is when you start. If it's just a developer or a home builder in the plan, they can plow their own roads, but once residents start, that's when we present the developer an agreement.
But we don't get the liquid fuels though until it's actually.
Until-
So it's actually dedicated to the
Gotcha.
township.
Correct.
All right, is there anything anybody wants to see on the next agenda?
I do. Can we discuss where we are, next steps for cell service, anything, zoning?
Sure. It's on Mark's
I'd
list.
like to know what's going on with the lease agreement that we signed with Robinson to maintain that retention pond. Back in the day, we signed
Yeah.
a very lengthy lease, and whatever it was based on didn't come to fruition.
That's correct.
And I think somebody else asked about this not too long ago.
This is
And we never got, and no one ever got back to us on it. I mean, I want to know, because, we never got any rent. And, is that thing void? I mean, what are we going to do here?
I'll tell you what, I'll get a copy of the lease to John and him to look at it.
What's the status of our human resources manager?
We have made an offer, it's been accepted, they're in the middle of the employment process, where they have to do physicals and drug tests. So I would assume within the next 30 days, somebody could be on board.
Okay, anybody else have anything for the good of the order?
Was it TP Road that we talked about last time? Did we get anywhere with that? Has there been any comment or anything?
Well, we've drafted an agreement, actually, we need John to review that agreement, it will be sent out, I don't know how long we're gonna get people to respond, I guess 30 days. So, the process is moving along.
One other thing I have, traffic calming on Johnston Road. Are we gonna have a study done there? Because I'm again going to point out the number of people that blow through Johnston Road. Or would it be possible when we repave it this year to raise the intersection at Johnston and Linville? Something that would cause the people to slow down a little bit.
There is a process for that. It would take signatures from people along the road to have the traffic study done. I don't know if that occurred, John?
We have that request.
Yeah. You want me to?
So I can't, I'm not gonna do it, so I gotta get one of my neighbors to do it.
I can send you that out. You can
Yeah,
get a
send it
neighbor
out, I'll give it to a
that
neighbor.
process.
then. All right.
Does it make people slow down?
It depends. I think, quite honestly, as much as I do not like it, I think Thompsonville Road, I think people slow down. on that.
Oh, yeah, those ones, I mean,
Yes.
there might be
Yeah,
some
there's no
cars that you
question.
can't drive over it, but
But-
the ones on Tower Hill Road, you don't have to slow down for.
And I would agree with you. I think they're much more acceptable for a driver, but they don't necessarily have the same impact.
And again, I'm gonna say, all this could be resolved if we would just put a stop sign at Johnston and Linville, and that would be the end of it. And I still don't understand how that intersection doesn't meet the warrants when King Richard and Waterdam does.
I would say that may be step one. Why don't we have our traffic engineer look at that before we visit
Revisit that,
traffic
yeah.
calming
Right.
out?
Right, because.
I would like that.
Because when I'm down there in the morning with my kids waiting for the bus, when you see the cars coming up Johnston, when they come, they literally, you can literally see them take off as they come up over the
I don't
hill.
recall that we ever did a study on that. Did we?
I think you guys did before I was on council.
It might have been a long time.
Yeah, a long time.
Yeah, possible.
That was before I was
But-
standing
Well,
there.
and
That should be step one. We don't have to
The
get
high
20
school
signatures for that. I mean, we'll do
didn't
that
change actually, still,
routinely.
Right.
but.
That
still.
makes sense,
Yeah.
Mark, just do
Why
that.
a
don't
lot
we
more
do that
kids,
first?
I got that end of the
And then we'll
township.
come
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, because 20 years ago wasn't a problem. The problem is now all the development's occurred on that end of the
Yeah, a lot
township,
more
and
background
Johnston's the
check,
logical
sure. Let's do
connection.
that. That'll be step one.
All right, thank you, Mark. Anybody else have anything? Do we have an executive session, Mr. Lauer?
We do not.
All right, we are adjourned.